So that way, if Brett wants to do a quick review, he can do that.
That would be great.
Okay, perfect. Did you guys get a little thing that says, is this okay?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. All right. So with controllers, you guys can all see that fine? Or not? Okay. We're going to talk a little bit about, I'm not going to go through the whole gamut. We have quite a list of controllers. I'm going to focus on, and I talked to Brett about this before, on a couple different, one on a more of a residential controller that's Wi-Fi, and then also talk about our new two-wire and give you an idea, a little bit of the differences between a two-wire controller and a, like a standard wiring. And then we also have a new controller that just came out last year that has some changes on there, and I'll show you that too. And I think there's a couple little video snippets I'll give you so you guys get a better idea of what it's about. Might be a good review, but I think some of this will be brand new. I know from doing the sort of a product profile with you guys that I think overall controllers, the majority of controllers are about 75% Toro or somewhere around there. Does that sound correct?
Say that one more time.
Yeah, I was saying that we did with Brett, I went through doing an irrigation profile of, your company. And what that had is it profiles like 14 different types of products. So one of the ones, and it just gives me an idea too, was just on overall controllers. And I think we had down like almost 75% in Toro controllers. Does that sound about right? That came from Brett.
Yeah, I'm not sure. At least personally, I find that I'm speccing controllers, all over the place, depending on the project there. And I don't usually spec Toro.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know.
I would agree with that.
With the 75?
No, like what Jason said.
Okay. So maybe it's more, it's a little bit more mixed.
Yeah.
So this will give you, and you guys feel free to interrupt or just, talk in between or during, this is supposed to be fairly casual, even though I know it looks formal probably with the PowerPoint and everything, but this will give you a good idea of some controllers you may not know about. This is the one on the left here, the ESP ME3. This controller has been upgraded a couple times. The nice thing about this is there's a Wi-Fi stick in it that will actually make a connection with your router and the internet. And then you'll put in a zip code in your phone, and this will actually adjust to weather. So what it will do is, let's say you had it programmed to irrigate for 15 minutes. Then if it's cloudy, cooler, rainy, whatever that is, it will actually adjust it, and it will show you the percentage it adjusted. So it'll say, hey, 20% less water. So this one gets used a lot on either some high-end residential, maybe like commercial, and also just residential. The nice thing about this one is it doesn't only do that, but it also, you can hook it up to a wireless rain sensor that we have. So this piece here goes up on the eave or on a wall, unobstructed, obviously, so you can get, water in here. And then there's some discs, like hydroscopic discs, they expand, and then this will react. And you can do different settings, like 1/4 inch of rain or whatever. So I know with Mwello, right, this is required probably pretty much on most of your controllers, isn't it?
Yeah.
The rain sensor. Great. And then the biggest addition, this is the first time of that we've ever done something like this on a light commercial controller. We actually made this work now with a flow sensor. So we have a flow sensor that's specific to this controller. So you get pretty much everything that you're going to need for that level of controller. Now, it's not going to have the same adjustability as, like, let's say our IQ software that, we could spend probably a whole day at least just on that alone. So later on, maybe we'll get into depth on that. The other thing I want you to notice is Rainbird has the same layout, and that's for a reason. If you look here, there's a dial on the left, and you'll find out, of course, a lot of different manufacturers might have a dial on the left, but when they change to different levels of controllers, they don't always have the same look. So on the right, you'll see there's typically 4 or 5 buttons, like on here too. There's 4 or 5 buttons. And then there's a large, in this case, backlit display, and that's always on the right. So whenever you go to a Rainbird controller, especially for, maintenance contractor or yourself at your home, it's going to have the same look and the same feel, which I think is a great thing. It just makes it easier when you're operating it. So, and you'll see there are differences in others. So this controller will get in a little more depth, but this is the ESP-LX IVM. And I'm sort of jumping way up from this to, this is our new integrated valve module, and we'll talk about that. Now this particular product, we are the only landscape irrigation manufacturer that manufactures this type of clock with valve. So we'll take a look at that. All this you can run with your phone, and there's also an option. Some people use soil, moisture sensors. You can use these too. So this is sort of overall part of what we're going to go over, and also sort of how you can spec it on your plan and make it easier, whether you're using LandFX or you're using standard AutoCAD, either way. Any questions so far? All right. Yes. We'll keep moving. And then, so on here, you see we've got a couple different battery operated controllers. I know that those are not always a specified item, but there are projects, obviously, that may not have power, especially like a street median or something like that, that you will need to spec that, or at least give the recommendation on what the contractor should put in until they get power. So we made some big changes on that. The main one I'm going to focus on is this one. It's called a T-Boss, and the blue signifies Bluetooth. We also have a track model. This is our TM2. This goes up to 12 stations. This is the IVM. We'll get into detail about this. And this is the ME3. And the ME3, by the way, that one has 22 stations. So this is the T-Boss Bluetooth. Now, if you guys have worked with battery operated controllers before, the nice thing about this that you won't see in a lot of others, you see on here, there's no dials, there's no screen. So it's like, so how do I program this? So this is all done from your phone, as long as you're within a range of, could be 25, 50 feet from the actual valve box. And it depends on the valve box even. So if your valve box was, let's say, concrete versus plastic, you might have to be a little bit closer. But you can actually upload, download all the information from your phone, which is super handy. Instead of having to get down on your knees or actually having to detach this. And then you can also do anywhere from 1 to 6 valves with this. So let's see how this comes up. Should be fine. Famous last words. Sometimes it's not, but So what I'm going to do is I'll go to, this is our landing page, and we'll talk about this other time, but I go to the landing page. This way we skip advertisements from YouTube and that type of thing. So this will give you a really good idea. I also have this going on my phone, so I'll make sure that you can see everything of exactly how this works and how it works on your phone.
The Rainbird T-Boss BT 9-volt battery controller provides reliable automatic irrigation in the absence of AC power. It's easy to install, and programming is done using the Rainbird mobile app and a smartphone via Bluetooth connection. To install the T-Boss BT, insert a 9-volt battery into the battery compartment, mount the controller inside the valve box, and connect it to the solenoid. To program the controller, you'll need the latest version of the Rainbird mobile app. This is the same app used for Rainbird Link Wi-Fi enabled controllers. Next, pair your smartphone with the T-Boss BT. The strength of the signal between the controller and the smartphone will vary based on environmental conditions, valve box material, and the smartphone that is being used. You'll want to be in the line of sight of the controller to improve signal strength. It's easy to tell if the system is properly connected by running a program manually. Next, give the controller a name that will help identify its location. Then, set a password. Create an irrigation schedule for Program A. Set the run days, the water budget, and the start times. There can be up to 8 start times. Finally, set the watering duration. Use the Seasonal Adjust feature to automatically adjust run times for the season, reducing water and trips to the controller to adjust programming. Tap Save/Sync to send the programming information to the controller. At the bottom right of the app, you'll find additional features. With fast and flexible programming via your smartphone, the T-Boss BT offers commercial-grade irrigation control for challenging areas without AC power.
The other thing I don't think that the video talked about that I really like is the app that we have, the free app, Rainbird app. You can use it with the ESP ME3 controller. You can also use that with the flow sensor, and you can use it with as many controllers as you want. I've heard that it's limitless, but if you think about it, if somebody has 100 battery operated controllers on a site, or maybe several sites, they can keep it all on their phone. You know, so it's super versatile that it can do that, and that makes it easier for them. Yes.
That's an interesting product. I hadn't heard that one before. That's very useful.
No, great. We'll once we can get back live again, we'll do a little demo. Let you guys do that. So
Yeah,
I
that'd be
think
great.
it's a good way to see that. So yeah, I love that product. This little guy here, this little looks like a node. This was previously for a cup and then a transmitter, so we simplified everything with the phone, which was awesome. So
So
before
Mark,
that,
you said this can control up to 6?
up to 6, yeah.
Okay. So would you have to link control wire from the 6 valves to this guy?
Yeah, I could barely hear you, sorry.
Oh. Oh, I was just wondering, so you'd have the wire connection from the control wire going to the 6 other valves?
Yes. It goes to it goes to the 6, but the other thing that this has on it is that it's a little bit different. I think they may have talked about it a little bit, but there's a DC latching solenoid that you have to change on each valve. So that's part of the deal, because the battery typically will last at least a year, but the reason it lasts is because it sends a pulse and then it lifts the plunger and then it just stays there. And then when it's ready to shut off, it sends another pulse. Otherwise, it would be constantly sending power, and the battery wouldn't last too long. So, but yeah, you do have to have those. This also, you can hook up a moisture sensor. It has an interrupt, or you could actually hook up a rain sensor. It's got a spot for that too, but it will not yet work with weather. So maybe we'll do that next. Any other question? Did I answer your question? Okay. The ESP LX IVM, and I'm skipping over the LXD. We have another, these are 2-wire products. And I don't know, I know you guys work with cities and you've got all types of different projects. And I'm finding that a lot of cities have not been doing 2-wire, and they don't really understand it. Or from years ago, maybe whatever that is, 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, they had a lot of issues when they first came out with 2-wire. That was back with, what I think, 2-core. When they first came out, I know when they had those issues, people don't forget, and especially at a lot of the public agencies. So they've really never grasped the whole 2-wire. So we started with ESP LXD that actually has a decoder, and I'll show you what that sort of looks like. It's a great controller, but this one is even better for a lot of reasons. And I think on anything that you do 2-wire, or even if you have standard wiring, that more and more are going to consider this particular controller because of the way that it operates and all the things that it can do. And you'll see on here. One of the things that to me is huge, typically with you guys familiar with 2-wire? Should ask that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So typically with 2-wire, right, you'll have, this shows a decoder. I got a little video clip on this, and you'll see all the splices, right? There's 4 splices just for one solenoid. If you look at this one, this is with the IVM. The IVM, there is no decoder. There's actually, we call it an integrated valve module, which replaces the solenoid in here. So that's really the brain. That has the address and everything else in it to run off the controller. So not only do you just have a couple wires, now they're actually installing these simply like this, because where it says reduces wire splices, that's great, but most of the issues that happen with 2-wire have to do with improper wiring and connections. So if you don't have a good connection, right, we don't have good communication, and then we have issues. So most of the time, problems are with the wiring, not with the controller. So anyway, so that's this will give you, it's sort of a nice little, I actually really like this video clip because it really goes through fairly quickly on how this works and why this is better using this technology. Now, Rainbird's had this technology in golf for like 10 years. So we've decided to bring that over to the landscape part. So now we have it with the landscape division.
Yeah, the controller on your old sprinkler system says it's working, but how do you really know the valves are functioning correctly? With 2-wire decoder systems, you never really know when the valves stop working because you only have one-way communication to the valves. And when there is an issue, how do you know whether it's the 2-wire device, wiring, connectors, or the solenoid? Introducing Rainbird's new integrated valve module controller. or IVM with smart valve technology. With two-way communication between our IVM smart valves and the IVM controller, you get confirmation from each valve that it's currently working properly. You can also see a history of valve health and any trends that predict future issues. It offers advanced diagnostics, so when your valves aren't working, you don't have to play guessing games. So, how does smart valve technology work? Built on 10 years of proven technology, we put an entire computer inside a valve. This powerful integrated valve module contains a computer chip with a CPU, memory, and even its own backup power supply. This IVM Sol device doesn't look that different from a normal solenoid and can replace any standard solenoid on all Rainbird commercial valves. Besides the technological innovations, our systems are designed to lower your installation costs. We reduced your wire splices by 50% compared to all other two-wire systems. This saves you labor and material costs and the cost of troubleshooting wire shorts in the future. In addition, IVM works with our IQ4 cloud-based central control, so you can manage your irrigation system from anywhere, anytime. Plus, the IVM controller with IQ will alert you if something's wrong. Rainbird is a respected industry leader, and IVM with smart valve technology puts us and you on the innovative edge of irrigation technology.
So the IQ software, one thing that's actually, I think it's incredible about it, wasn't actually even mentioned, the fact that it's free. So there's no charge to that at all. They just need a controller, communication cartridge. And the only charge that they would ever have might be like if they got a cellular connection, then they just pay for data, which is very inexpensive. It's like less than 150 a year. So if you compare that to like a lot of other controller manufacturers, there's a lot of fees attached to it. And that was one thing that we decided that we wanted to eliminate that. So you get all the benefits of, this controller, but without having to pay like reoccurring fees. Sounds like an ad, but it's not. So any other, do you guys have any questions? I mean, there's a lot with two wire. I'll show you there's a lot of features, and you may not always think that you're gonna need this many features, and you may not, but we're finding more and more from irrigation consultants and others and landscape architects that they have some needs, especially when you get down here. This is just a regular IVM, and then we have IVM Pro. This goes 60 stations. So if you're around 60 or less, you would go with this clock. But look at all the master valves. So if you're worried about like how many points of connection that I can do, you can do 5 points of connection. You can do 4 weather sense, 8 simulstations, which basically means you could run 8 stations at the same time. And then 10 programs. And where this is big is, especially for Rainbird, I think, because we used to just have like 4 programs, and more need more programs, especially with drip and all the other smaller zones that they're starting to irrigate. And I think you guys have told me before, what, 80, 90% of your irrigation is drip, right? Something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So when you have more small areas, different exposures, even maybe something where there's pots, could even be rooftop garden, whatever that is, you can really divide it up the way you need to or the way you want to. Now, if you are looking for something much more than that and you have a lot of stations, you've got 10 points of connection, you can do up to 40 programs. So you can do an awful lot with this. Cost-wise, this is just going to be a better cost overall. It doesn't have this, the same features, but they both work with IQ, and so they'll react to flow, break in the line, they'll diagnose where the break is, they'll shut everything down, and then they'll actually turn the zones that are actually working and not, leaking or broken. So there's a lot of things it can do. Hey, there's Brett. Okay, we're starting over. Just kidding. I wouldn't do that to Brett.
Mark, I
So
think that's the controller that we eventually went with for Camp Newman, right? Where we had all the 2-wire stuff, and I think
yes,
that's it.
that was
Yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did that one get built yet?
It's in the process of it. Yeah.
Okay.
They're still doing hardscape and stuff right now, so they haven't gotten to planting and irrigation yet.
Awesome. We appreciate the spec for that. So
Yeah, no.
that should work
Great.
out great. Did we do was that just a straight IVM? Was that under 60 stations, or was it, that was the
It
large-
was under 60 by the end, so yeah.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. Yeah, and of course, if they need any support with that, you'll let us know. I know. So,
For sure.
okay. So, let me move past this one. Now we're going to move to something smaller. I went the other direction this time. So, this is, the TM2. The nice thing about this is it actually doesn't show it, but it actually comes with like a cord. So you don't think about that, but almost all controllers like this type of controller don't come with a pigtail or electrical cord. So this comes with a 6-foot cord, so you don't need an electrician to hook that up. Also, this will go, we have different, I usually go with the 12 station myself. That's the max it does. And this, you can use the Wi-Fi, and we have the app, so we've got the app on that. I'll show you what the app looks like. I actually stole some photos from UC Davis. So I stole your photo behind me. That's one of your projects. And then I've got UC Davis down here. So whatever we can, make it more real with. So this gives you an idea. This is a screenshot, off my phone. And, you could put in anything here, but what this is for is so you can actually put a picture in for the area. So I just thought, okay, this looks like a green roof. Probably isn't, but it looks like it. And then you can see the adjusted time. So I have it set for 15 minutes, but it's adjusted according to the zip code. So it's super nice, and it's easy because everybody, for the most part, everybody I know has a router. Everybody on this call probably has one. And so, once you have that with the Wi-Fi stick, you're able to do all the different operations from rain sensor, shutting down your system for like 14 days, calling it whatever. And again, you can put as many controllers on here as you want. And then you could do manual watering. Now, this is how you create, a schedule. What I like too is there's a lot of these that are on a slide bar kind of thing. So you can easily just slide it on your iPhone. And then it will, you can put the time of day and everything that you want to water on that. So, so this, you can see on this side, this is actually showing the weather, or what the weather is going to be. So no different than when you watch the news channel, and then it'll make its adjustments accordingly. This is again, program 8. It has 3 programs, which is adequate for most that only have a 12 station controller. But you put the picture in of the area that's indicative of what you're watering, and you can easily make these changes. And it also has a calendar function that's sort of nice if you want to take more of a overall look at what's happening for the next 3 days. And you can advance that also. So anyway, that's all with the little track model. That's been super popular. Contractors have been getting away from using those big, separate weather stations where they're having to hook that and hardwire it, or even wireless to a house. With this, you're using the zip code and it will be close. And then if you've got rain, you can do the rain sensor. So pretty well covered. Then I've got the prefabricated irrigation legends with links. So I want to show you a number of different things. It's probably good timing, being what we did the last couple times. But I updated some of this so you could see sort of the latest and greatest. This is from our website. This is just a piece or a snippet of 3 30 by 42 sheets of either DWG, PDF, JPEG, all the different formats. But what's nice about this, and I know you already have this on LandFX, but it's nice, especially if you're going to try something like something new, like an RD head with an RVAN. All the information's on there. Also, all these buttons, the green, they're all live. So if you have a PDF or you have a DWG, this will go right to the landing page of that product. So you say, hey, I'm looking at maybe using this, click on there and I go right there. So this comes off our website. I'll show you sort of how that works. Here's another part of it. This is with the IVM Pro. I just got this morning and looked up, I looked up a legend. So I should have been using this for you, Brett, last time because it's already done, and it's and it's accurate. So when I was looking here, this gives the exact valve with the actual IVM solenoid already in here. And when you look down, here's the controller. There's the stainless steel pedestal, a bunch of notes that are good. And then you come on down. This has got the IQ4 cartridge. It's got the WR2-48 wireless rain sensor, and it's got the flow sensor. So yes, you would have to make some adjustments. Let's say you had, 100 gallons a minute, you'd use a different flow sensor. But all in all, this is another one. It's another spec that's already completed. At least you have an idea. You can check what you guys do. So I'm sure that even LandFX doesn't have all that, but maybe we'll get them to add it. Any questions on the irrigation schedule or legend? All right. Now, you guys can remind me, because I know sometimes we'll have, let's say 4 or 5 of you on one call, and then other times maybe we'll have, let's say 3. So, did we go over design resources with you guys? I don't think we did. It won't take very long anyway, but.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay, so this is, when you go to our website, there's a tab here, I just call it tab, resource, pull down menu, or products. If you go to resources and look for design resources, that's the same name as our new app for our catalog that you can do with your phone. I think we did some of that, but I'm going to go through that one more time. But this is just on the website. So if you go to design resources and it's loading up, you will see this, to me, is like probably one of the best designer tools besides our new app for the phone, our catalog app, because look on the left-hand side, you've got all the different product categories. And let's say we want to go into, which ones you guys want to go into? I'll let you pick. Don't pick one that's not on there.
Let's go with
Spray
valve.
nozzles. Oh, valves. Yeah, valves.
Okay. So, it's all right. Well, valves and valve boxes. So then we can go plastic valves, brass valves, quick couplers, valve boxes, valve accessories. Let's do plastic valves. I won't say that because I know there's plenty of them out there. So once I click on that, what I like again about this is you go through the valves. Let's go through, because we were just talking about IVM, and this is new. So you can see that that's the new solenoid or the integrated valve module. So here's the product details. Now we can go to CAD, documents, product home, and some of these or most of these have LandFX. This one will have LandFX too eventually. But I'll show you what that looks like. So product home is going to be the home page for the product, right? So when we go to that, it should go right to the page. This is really going to be probably the best information source because you got features, specs, models, documents. And with documents, I don't know about you guys, I typically go whenever there's like a tech spec or anything like that, that's where I go. So it just makes it easier. So if I come back to here, let's say I want to do, and we're picking a pretty new one. Sometimes we keep adding details as we go. So we'll take the, so look on this and I'll click on one of these so we can look at it. Here's the, see, it gives you a couple options. These are all the details for IVM. It's got a download DWG, and then I always click all download. I can read it, but I don't have AutoCAD. So click on PDF for this one, and you can see there's a, I'll enlarge that a little bit. There's a nice detail showing the splicing, the tags, you know, everything else. So this is a great resource because you can just get to any of these. Now, let's say we have, I'm curious myself, let's say we have the PEB or PESB, which is pretty common valve that's used. And we click on that. So this is on LandFX. So this goes right to their site and shows what they have and the way they're labeled, the, you know, all the pressure, the GPM, the symbols that are used. We'll try this. And then I'll click on that, the PEB, PRSD, which I think is already there. So see how it changes? You can go right down the list and it changes everything, the symbols and all the above. So, you know, you may or may, you've already got that in LandFX, you may or may not use that. But you can see here, look at, I mean, all the valves are there. So it's a great, you know, resource. And then you'll see on here where we have all the products. The nice thing about here, if you just hold your cursor over, you look here, traditional controllers, 2-wire, battery operated, sensors, meters, and accessories like the Wi-Fi stick we were talking about for the controllers. So I'm going to go to my phone and make sure that this works okay. Any questions so far? Pretty straightforward. And we'll cover drip on the next go. So I'm going to stop the share on this, and then I'm going to share my screen, hopefully. Okay. It's a great tool when it works. All right. Okay, you see on the bottom right-hand corner, it's called Rainbird Resources, and you guys should honestly load this app either now if you're not on your phone or later. Just go to your, you know, your app search and then search for Rainbird Resources and then go ahead and load it. This year, we decided not to go with the catalog, and at first there were a few people that weren't super thrilled, and I had some plans to do with the catalog, but what ended up working out excellent is once I saw the app and got to use the app, I realized now that I can look at my computer and then keep it to the left of me or the right of me, right? And use it just like a catalog, except the difference with this is it's updated all the time. So you've got the latest and greatest of the products instead of going to something that's already going to be outdated literally in probably 4 weeks, 5, 6 weeks. We've already had, I think, at least 2 or 3 new products within the last, couple of months. So we're always doing new product development, and it's not going to be in your catalog. Plus, I can get there much faster than anybody could in their, paper catalog. So I can go here, like for instance, let's say Mark didn't see you for 6 months. So you're like, I wonder what the new products are. You can click on the new products. And of course that wouldn't happen, but you can click on these and look on there, and you may not know about, there's the IVM. We talked about that. You may not know about the flow indicating basket filter, except that I probably sent you something on that. But if we click on that, you can see here, it's great. I mean, it's really clear. It's easy to read. And of course you can enlarge anything you want. I like the fact too, you can go to tech specs and you can see 3 gallons per minute to 20 gallons per minute. You can hit a video, which to me are always super helpful. You see, I use those a lot because I think they explain a lot in a really short period of time. But this one shows you how to retrofit an existing basket strainer and a valve box. So super nice. Now, the other things on here, that would just be individual. I mean, even dimensions, a lot of times those are hard to find. So if I go back to see where it's the home base, I can hit like in literature. You can see it's got all the different literature, and then you can choose, product and all that. You can go to resources. Here you can actually look at regulation. Like if you want to know more about MWELO, WaterSense, LEED, we're always going to be updating these. For instance, we have some really great design guides that are actually MWELO specific, so you know what products to select to meet MWELO. It's all there. So that's a good one. This has all the different regulation, and then you can see all the other ones, site reports, sports field templates we have, product user manuals, and so on. Now the resources, you can go down, it's the same, where is that? Tables, that's what I wanted. So here you can actually look, remember we were having all that fun with pressure loss. So if you have nothing else to do, you can look at, maybe you don't know the pressure loss through a water meter. So it will get you to that page, and then you can look at, all the numbers. And I use this too, like if you guys ask me a question, like you don't have to look at any of this. If you'd rather get it from me directly, just ask me and I can just send you a link. You can see right up above. I can send a link like you would with anything else, YouTube, whatever. So super, super helpful. Also the search, let's say you didn't know the name of the basket strainer, which is an easy one actually to forget, even though it makes sense, but let's say I don't really know, and I want anything with a strainer or basket, it pops up like that. And you can see the one I'm looking for is right up here. So super easy. And then you've got all the different, you see control zone kits and that kind of thing. Probably the last thing on here would be, so here's you see where the star is for favorites. Now what I've added in here, these are all the favorites that I put on here, but I added like recently the turf price list. I know sometimes you guys might ask me for, like you want to get some budget numbers, how much is that IVM, whatever. We can go through this, but what's nice about this is if you do this particular one on the PDFs, I can go here and I could hit control zone kits, and there they are. And there's the pricing, right like that. super nice, because I know that like, okay, price list, this is 2020, which believe it or not, is fairly recent for, you know, something like this. We'll change that again, obviously, or as the prices increase or stay the same. I think prices always increase, don't they, Chris? Hey, we got to eat, right? So the other thing is on quote, we haven't, if you click on that, it's a feature to come. We'll see exactly how we're going to utilize that, or the contractor or distributor or yourself. So this will be interesting. This will probably, I'm sure it's going to take a little time to figure that out. So any questions on the app? You guys all running it so we can have a contest next time?
I mean, it's pretty user friendly and intuitive. I like having I've always been, the catalog has always been daunting. Just like, where do I even start? So this is at least nice for a newcomer, at least.
It's a lot of pages. You know, yeah, that's the catalog is just a lot of pages. And this of course is probably thousands of pages, I guess, if you wanted to include all those. So I think we're, you know, I'm not going to say like finally getting that together, but I think as long as you're going to make a big step like that, you need something really user friendly that we can continue to add to. And if you ever find anything in there that you think's like every now and then off, like all catalogs have mistakes. I've never seen a catalog that doesn't have at least one mistake when they print. So the nice thing about this too is I can see something really quickly. I just ship it off to a product manager and they do the little, whatever that change is, you know, so it even makes it better. I next go, let's see what we got. Drip. So we'll go through a number of different drip scenarios. I know we've done a little bit of that before, but maybe, you know, more from a design standpoint than anything. So you guys can make sure you have all that dialed in. I know you guys do a good job of speccing us. Sometimes it ends up being I find that the XFS versus the XFS CV. There's definitely some design differences, so we can talk about those. But I appreciate you guys doing this. I think it's been really good to be consistent, and I feel like our time frame has been pretty good for you guys as far as like, I think we've been going every month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thanks for being flexible this go around, even though I missed the first 3 quarters.
You're fine. Hey, we're recording it, so you can watch this thing 100 times if you want, Brett.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, appreciate the recordings. I'll make sure I send that out to everyone again.
Then we have to, how's your yard coming along?
It's not.
Not?
It's not. No. Like I mentioned, like the hot water heater investment was a nice surprise. Well, not a nice surprise, but yeah. So we're getting there slowly but surely.
Did you tell everybody on the call that we're gonna have a work day or 2 or 3?
Yeah, I haven't gotten that word out yet. I don't know how many people are going to be excited about that, but
have you roped us into labor there, Brett?
No, I didn't do that yet. I wouldn't do that.
No, he was very good about it, to be honest with you. I said, hey, you know, there's no better way to train, honestly, than doing it like that live. There really is not. But as long as you're not the one stuck
just digging the trenches, then that's another whole thing. But yeah, he sounds like he's got it handled, but you know, we can always send a couple more grub hubs out there, give you enough energy to do your project. How's that?
Sure. Yeah,
right.
but we'll get around. We'll get to it. We'll get around to it. It's just.
And
yeah,
you also didn't you also mention something about
Because at your office, eventually you guys are gonna change some planners out or something, right?
Yeah, I don't know where that stands. I know there was a new owner or transfer, and then they did a lot of painting upgrades, and so I think there was some talk about doing the planting update and things. So I'm not sure where that's landed, or if that's just fallen, probably
We've given
fallen
them
by the
a
wayside.
planting plan, but I think
Oh, okay.
maybe the owner ran out of money because things have halted. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jason and Christine have really been working on that. So.
Great. Well, those look like relatively, unless it's a bigger area than I thought, small planners, but those are always good to participate in from our end if there's some areas that we could help out with. So I can supervise really well. So. No, I still like doing that work. Just my knees aren't so good from doing irrigation, actually, not sports.
Right.
All right, well, I'll let everybody go unless you guys have anything else. Thank you again for being on, and there'll be a quiz next week. Okay.
Fantastic.
Great.
All right.
Well, thank you so much.
Good.
No problem.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sis.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark.
No problem. You guys have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
Thanks.